About a week ago, my family ordered Chinese food for delivery. When the delivery driver came to the door, my daughter was taking the cat upstairs to put in her room because he always tries to eat the food. My son loudly says, "Make sure to hide the cat from the Chinese guy." As I am at the door getting the food from the Chinese delivery driver. He very obviously heard what my son said and was upset by it. I quickly apologized and took the food. I told my son that racist jokes were completely unacceptable and very wrong, and he refused to admit that he was in the wrong. So, later that night I forced my son to write a sincere apology to the delivery driver, his name was on the receipt, as well as write a one-page paper on Chinese culture and a one-page paper on why racism is perpetuated by racist jokes and stereotypes. Then the next day I took him to the restaurant and had him read his apology aloud to the delivery driver as well as give him the papers he wrote. The driver was very appreciative of the apology and thanked me for making my son do it. He then told my son about multiple instances where he had faced racist comments and attacks from people while he was a delivery driver. That night my husband and I got into an argument about me making our son do this. He told me that it was embarrassing for our son to have to do the apology and that the punishment didn't fit the crime. I told him that it was much more embarrassing for the driver to have to face that kind of racism and racist stereotypes, and that our son would get over the embarrassment. I do not condone any kind of hateful thinking in my house, and the fact that my son said that embarrassed me as well. My husband told me that it was just a joke, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I feel like I might have overreacted some, but I think it's important to help my son understand how what he said was wrong and hurtful. I used to be fake. Not in the layered cosmetics, profess to be something I'm not. On Wednesdays we wear pink, kind of fake. I was that stealthy kind of fake, stealthy enough to slip under the radar and obscure the dramatic implications. The blank stares, eye-rolling and general sideways squints from the general population made it easy to hide the parts of myself that catalyzed the aforementioned actions. If you're inclined to provide a pass for this deceptively benign fakery, allow me to streamline, I was hiding who I was. The motivation wasn't maleficent. The action was relatable and potentially just human. I wish that voided the fake, but it doesn't. So, what does it mean to be fake or inauthentic? Why do we do it? What are the byproducts? And my favorite, what can happen when we fight the fake? Let's standardize. I'll call being fake anything you knowingly do that is in discordance with who know you are. Also, let's hold ourselves accountable. If we have an inkling, a pit in our stomach, a tickle at the corner of our consciousness, we know. Ignoring signs is willful denial. #sorry not sorry fake itself has countless concentrations. Pretending to love sushi when in and out is one of your food groups. Choosing relationships that invalidate you but look great behind a light ring. Denying yourself intellectual stimulation to make others feel smart or pretending to enjoy group settings when you could comfortably spend 27,383,576,238,467 days in a place where other humans' only role is grounding you in physical reality. There is, of course, another variety of fake whereby we ignorantly act and are in discordance with who we are for the very real reason that we are direct byproducts of societal structures that reinforce and theoretically incite fakeness, which addresses much of why we're fake to begin with. We do it because we're forced to. From early in our development, canned versions of ourself are consistently and almost inescapably enforced by way of media, organizations, standardized education, and basically all civilized human models. Who we should want to be, what we should aspire to do, why we should aspire to do it, and how we're supposed to feel about it all is conveniently outlined. For myself, I was fake for the artless reason of making other people happy. I'd mostly known who I was at any given age and been averse to societal structures since age 4 when I was precluded from using the specialized shoe tying method I'd developed. I had tired, though, of being labeled as weird, feeling unliked and unrelatable, and that no one understood what, and especially why, I was me. I had learned to keep myself to myself, convinced that it wasn't self-loathing but a pragmatic sacrifice for the greater good. Less existentially, being fake is easy. It numbs us. It creates an illusion of separation from the discomfort of longing to be ourselves in our covertly curated, homogeneous surroundings. It is, however, only an illusion. When we fall prey to the illusion of contentedness and concede to being fake, we actively imprison our spirit. Our spirit is the essence of who we are, we cannot contain one without the other. But wait, there's more. When we hide ourselves, we limit folks' exposure to the other, all things beyond their present purview, interaction with which is the holy grail of growth. We rob them of the adventure of self-discovery, of observing their response to something new and deciphering how they feel about it. We give them permission to dip into their bucket of appropriate responses in reaction to our own bucket of appropriateness, and then we both get sushi. Driving this train clean off of the tracks, when we stay the process of self-discovery, we amputate our collective ability to see the sum whole of humanity. Pause. When we're fake, we distort and obscure our view of humanity. Imagine humanity a puzzle and each of us a piece. How can the puzzle come together when we can't see the pieces? What if we decide to fuck the fake and get real? If we refuse to change ourselves to please others and operate in accordance with our truth? We become free. Mic drop. Consciously, we'd inspire others to be free through something psychology calls modeling. They'd see how it's done and understand that it can be done. Subconsciously, it's a secret signal that we're in this humanity thing with all four limbs and ready to start the work of being better, together. The best part of fucking the fake is that even when others don't consciously comprehend or buy in, we passively plant seeds of change. Yes, they take time, but less time than growing something from nothing at all. Also, just as inauthenticity robs people of opportunities, being real gifts opportunities. It allows folks to get a glimpse of who they really are and how they operate. With an empathetic hand, we hold up a mirror. While it's not our responsibility to make others open or even acknowledge the gift, let's give it anyway. People love presence. As for my minuscule fragment of the whole, I want to be free. I want my spirit to ramble and myself to spill out. I want to openly wish the best for humanity, for each of us to live up to our supernatural potential, to love ourselves and adventure and be loved. I want to give gifts that last, the kind that get used and reflected upon years later with new insight and application. The kinds that spur laughter and fuel power and drip with love and liberation. The kind that are real.
I have been dating my girlfriend, Claire, for over 16 months. She's a widow and her late husband passed away from a terminal illness at the age of 31 3 years ago. It happened at home. When she opened up to me about the event of his death, I felt confused because she told me he died in the very same bed she sleeps on. Only she got the mattress, sheets, and pillowcases cleaned, they look colorless because of bleach. I have to say it felt so irritating after I was pressured to sleep on that bed whenever I visited her since I live hours away. I really felt she should have got new mattress and sheets, but she said she kept them to keep some form of familiarity in her life after her husband's passing. I grin and bear just for the sake of being respectful, but it all came to head last night when I discovered an old blood stain at the bottom of the mattress. It set me off and I had to get Claire to drop what she was doing and come into the room and show her what I discovered. She laughed at the expression on my face and casually said it was nothing, and I shouldn't make a big deal out of it, but I strictly said yes I should, and frankly and with all due respect, but this mattress needed to be replaced as well as the sheets and pillowcases like yesterday. She said no, but I insisted and used a harsher tone to let her know how serious I was. I told her she needed to replace those or I won't even sit on that bed anymore, let alone sleep on it. She started arguing about how disrespectful it was for me to dictate what happens in her home and reminded me that this will cost her money and said that I'm just acting insecure since not only did I request she replace the mattress but also the sheets and pillowcases. I said she was wrong because I had a problem with them from the get-go, and yeah, I sucked it up but wasn't too thrilled to sleep in a place someone else died in that includes the sheets and pillowcases. She argued that they were as clean as new and I was just desperately looking for an excuse and found one right there and then. I said all right then, it's her decision ultimately, but from now on I'll be spending the night at a motel because I will no longer be expected to sleep on that bed. She didn't like any of what I said at all and kept accusing me of being illogical, controlling and plain disrespectful to be overreacting like that over an old stain, and asked, do you replace your mattress every time you stain it? I apologized for stressing her out to the point of crying because she didn't want me to go to stay at a motel at 10 p.m. and not stay with her for the night, but I told her it's her decision to make and needed to decide whether she wants me to be continuing to spend the night with her, but she said I was pressuring her and strong-arming her by choosing to stay at a motel. I left. We kept arguing on the phone. From what I understand, she's not agreeing on my request and said I should never have even made this request, completely disregarding and disrespecting her home and her decisions. Did I overstep?